You're on.
All right. I would like to call the Town of Rocky Hill Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting of Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 to order. First item is the public hearing for AMG Pub 2 LLC. However, we have received a letter from the applicant requesting to continue the public hearing to Commission's March 19, 2025 meeting. So can I have a motion to continue?
Oh, do we have to read it before we motion, or do we have to read it before we motion?
I'll read it.
Okay.
I can read it, it's not a problem. Yeah. Special permit site plan application, AMG Pub 2 LLC, proposing to combine properties and reconfigured gas pumps in the building into a relocated retail convenience store and gas station for properties located at 2720 and 2736 Main Street in the C Commercial Zoning District, ID 14-227 and 14-225. Motion to continue the public meeting per the letter on our table tonight to March 19th, 2025.
I'll second that.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let's see. Item 3, public comments. If anyone here who is here to address the commission on items not on the agenda. Seeing none, hearing none, moving on to consent agenda.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
It's obvious, but.
Can I have a
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Item 5A. Let me see. And just for the record, the seated commissioners, Commissioner Robbins, Commissioner Mahomes, myself, Commissioner Zurelli, Commissioner Glico.
What's his name?
Site plan application, LNP Realty LLC, proposing a 3,120 square foot storage building for property located at 17 Laurel Road in a BP Business Park 1 zoning district, ID 14-364.
Is that? Yep. Good evening. For the record, my name is Jim Cassidy, professional engineer and principal with the firm of Halsey, Pearson & Cassidy, and my office is located at 630 Main Street in Cromwell. I'm here tonight representing LNP Realty LLC. I have Peter Minarbelli with me this evening, who's a member of LNP Realty. We're here tonight to talk to you about a piece of property located at 17 Laurel Road. And we're here tonight seeking a site plan approval for the construction of a new storage building on this property located at 17 Laurel Road. A little bit about the existing site. The photo you have up outlined in yellow is the existing property. It consists of 15,140 square feet or 0.35 acres of BP Business Park 1 zone land. It is located on the northerly side of Laurel Road. On this page, north is up. The overall width of the property is 120 feet, so it has 120 feet of frontage along Laurel Road. It's about 125 feet deep. It is bounded on the back or the top portion to the north by 7D Wholesale. That's the lumber warehouse distribution center. And then bounded on the west or to the left by 11 Laurel, property of 11 Laurel LLC, which is actually, I believe it's Trello Landscaping, occupies that building. And then bounded on the east or to the right by Rock Realty, where there's a small manufacturing building. This property presently does contain an existing 2,320 square foot one-story building. It is used by Mirabelli Automotive as a auto body shop. Has been for quite some time. We were actually before this commission back in about 15 years ago at this point, which time I believe that's when you started using the building, about 15 years ago. So it's always been used as automotive repair or body shop. You'll see on this photo, off to the left or to the west of the building, there's storage of a bunch of vehicles. Those are vehicles that are typically being repaired within the facility. And what Mr. Mirabelli would like to do is actually put a new building in that area. They're looking to put a building in there to basically store, or to store vehicles that are going to be worked on. The idea is they've been having a situation where when the vehicles come in for service and an adjuster needs to come and examine them, they want to kind of get them out of inclement weather, such as you can see right now when everything's encased in ice. They would like to get them out of that situation. See if this works. This is just an existing site survey that is included as part of your package. So what we're looking to do, this is the proposed site plan, directly to the west of the existing building, about 3.7 feet away, we're looking at building a new steel building, a new standing seam steel building. It has a total footprint of about 52 wide by 60 deep, so it has a total area of about 3,120 square feet. You'll see access to this building is going to be through a single driveway to a single garage door on the front side of it. So the area where you can see the vehicles underneath it is presently used for storage of vehicles being serviced. All those vehicles will now go inside, so it eliminates all the outside storage of vehicles. The existing building would still be maintained, the same purpose. There's no increase in the operational use of that building. It's just to make things a little bit neater and get these vehicles inside. Presently, for the existing building, there is a driveway that services garage doors along the front of it. They technically have 2 parking spaces within that driveway. We are not proposing to increase number of parking spaces, seeing this use is specifically storage. The use of the parking right now is for 1 person working in the building and 1 insurance adjuster that comes to inspect vehicles, and that's all they really need. So the other driveway, the new driveway to the left, would be just for providing access into this new building. The existing building is serviced by a private septic system located off to the bottom right corner of the building, and it's also serviced by public water. This new building will not have any restrooms, it will not have any water spigots, so it will not need water service or sanitary sewer service. Again, it's specifically used for storage. When we take a look at your zoning bulk table requirements, in the BP zone, your specific requirements, so you need to have a minimum lot area of 20,000 square feet. This lot is existing non-conforming to lot area being 15,104 square feet. We are obviously not changing that. It's going to be the same lot. Minimum lot frontage in the BP1 zone is going to be 125 feet. We're at 120, so again, that's an existing non-conforming. The front yard setback in the BP zone is 35 feet. The existing building is at 33.3. The new building we are proposing to set further back, so it'll be about additional 2 feet back at 35.5 feet. So it will comply with the front yard setback requirements. Side yard, you need a minimum of 15 feet. The existing building is at 16.2. The new building will be at 16. So once again, we're going to meet and exceed the requirements. And then the rear yard setback needs to be 30. The existing building is about 20. There's actually a air handler unit on the back of that building. The new building will be at 30.3, so once again, we'll meet the 30-foot requirement. A couple of things to take into consideration is building coverage. Obviously, with the additional building, we are going to be increased building coverage, but you're allowed to have up to 40% in the BP1 zone. With this new building, we're going to be at 36.03, so it'll still be under the 40% requirement. The one that's kind of interesting is the impervious coverage requirement, in that you're allowed to have up to 75%. Taking a look at the area to the west of the building that's intended to be pavement, the pavement's in kind of a not that great a shape, so we tried to delineate the limits by survey out there as best we could. Of what's left for pavement in the building area that's presently out there. The impervious coverage is actually at about 58%. Because we're eliminating a lot of pavement along the front of the building, we'll actually be going down to about 47.7%. So there's actually a reduction in impervious coverage overall. As I mentioned, for parking requirements, all we need under your regulations, there's no specific requirement for parking other than we need to dedicate 20% for customers. Of the overall parking spaces, as I mentioned, there's presently 2 spaces. One is for the one person working in the building, and one is for an insurance adjuster, and that's all the only public that comes is that insurance adjuster. In your zoning regulation, there's also a requirement that you cannot have parking over the front building line. So you'll notice on this plan, we propose just a single driveway into the new building. There's no parking located on the side of it. All the parking would have to be within the building. So we're going to meet the requirement for the parking being within the building. Other aspects of the utilities on this site, as I mentioned, we're not proposing any sanitary sewer or water service. The power would be coming off of the existing building. The only other utility we really have was storm drainage. There is a reduction overall in impervious coverage. The way the drainage works right now, there's a high point of about 50. It's located at the northwest or the upper left corner of the property. And it's all sheet flows off down to the lower right corner where the elevation is 45. So it's a gradual grade as it goes down there. What we are doing is we are proposing to take the entire roof area, collect it through a roof leader system, and then we're going to be discharging it to an underground infiltration system at the back of the property. So with the combination of the reduction in impervious coverage and taking all the roof leaders, about 3,200 square feet, and putting it into an underground system, there's going to be a significant reduction in runoff post-development off the site. This area typically consists of, coarse sand and gravel. It's considered a Manchester sand and gravel. It has a very high infiltration rate, so it's ideal for promoting infiltration practices in this area. As I mentioned, the building is going to be a one-story structure. It is a pre-manufactured metal building. You'll see this would be the front elevation of the building. It's only intended to be used for storage, so there's a single garage door along the face of the building. It will have a gable roof on it. Overall height is slightly over 20 feet. You can see the door height is 14, so the height to the peak is 20 feet. Again, it is a pre-manufactured building. We're looking at a red vertical metal siding with a gray vertical metal siding for the bottom 4 feet of the panels. But its only use is for storage. You will see doors off to the side, but we're proposing those doors just to open for allow airflow and ventilation through the building. But they typically will not be open. It would be just the front door that you would be using for access to the site. Again, the primary purpose for this, again, is to eliminate the outside storage of the vehicles being serviced and put them inside, get them out of inclement weather, make it a little bit easier for the adjusters that have to come and inspect vehicles before they actually get serviced. So with that, I'm going to conclude my presentation, and I'll gladly answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. I'll open up questions to Commissioner Zarelli.
On this slide right here, what's your intention to do, what you're going to do between the two buildings?
It would be stone between the two buildings. It's going to be 3.7 feet wide, so it's not going to really allow you to grow grass between it.
So there's no walkway between the two buildings? You have to walk out the front, walk in the other?
Correct. There's no connection between the two.
So you mentioned as part of your presentation that you want to get rid of all that stuff on the outside and put it in the building. But does that mean you're proposing that there's going to be no outside storage?
Correct.
You said it, but would it be,
Yeah,
if we put a condition on there's no outside storage? could it be
That's the
adhered to
intention
in
here, is to
your-
get rid of
in
the
your
outside.
business model?
Right.
It could be adhered to in your business model.
Is that going to work? Yeah, the owner confirmed that would work.
That's all I have. No signage on the building, it's just like your elevation?
No, there's no signage, no new lighting other
No
than,
new lighting, no new-
other than a security light at the front door, so we don't have a site lighting plan because we're not proposing to add any additional lighting in this area.
I have nothing further.
Commissioner Glico?
The picture you showed the garage door on the side. Is that just on the east side and the front?
There's one on both sides, just for.
One on the west, one on the east?
Yeah,
Nothing
but they
in the
wanted to
rear?
open just for cross ventilation if they need to have it in there.
Is there gonna be something in the rear?
There would be another door in the back, yeah.
So it's gonna have 4 doors.
4 doors, correct.
And the existing building's only got a front door?
Only as a front door, correct.
Okay. That's all I got.
Commissioner Leco?
Yeah, my only question is about, like, the vehicles coming into the new building and then getting out. So if they come in, head on, and then they would back out, how does that work?
They're typically wrecked vehicles. Again, it's auto body shop, so they get backed in with a tow truck.
If you
and
can
they get pulled back.
talk on the,
So they get, you want him to repeat his question, or am I okay to answer?
So how do the vehicles get in and out of this new building?
So Mr. Mirabelli actually owns the towing service, so vehicles that are coming in are typically towed, and then they would have to be backed into the building and then pulled back out with our tow truck.
Okay, thank you.
The only question I had was if there's going to be any outside storage, and you said no, so I'm all set.
I just see 2 spaces for employee parking. And you mentioned a tow truck, but I mean, are there going to be visitors? Are there going to be customers?
So Ray works at the shop. He's the only person working at the shop. And then the only other person that comes is an insurance adjuster. It's not open to the public.
Oh, okay. That's my only question.
Are there going to be any additional fluids or any additional storage of items?
No, so this always comes up, when you usually have a vehicle that's been in a wreck, unfortunately, most of the fluids are out of it at the wreck site. So when they tend to get towed in, they're already drained. We're not proposing to service vehicles here. This is just auto body work.
So you don't need
We're
any
not doing-
additional
no, we're not.
areas for waste removal?
No.
And I know that the driveways aren't paved, and the pavement that's on there is pretty bad. So
Well,
are
they're
you guys
technically
going to
paved, but
pave
bad,
it?
she said in bad shape.
You going to pave it?
Yeah, we have to pave the new driveway, so are we going to pave the existing? Yeah, we could pave the existing driveway at the same time.
Well, good. And I'm going to ask my sidewalk question, right? No sidewalks?
No sidewalks, there's no sidewalks in the area. I would love to put sidewalks in, but I don't know where they would actually go to.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's one of our big things, is there's no walkable area in that. And you don't have to have a handicap parking space on that property?
Again, there's one person working in it. I mean, we can convert one to a handicap. We have ample room to do it.
I just didn't know what the regs, Kim, were for that. They don't have.
We're not really, we're just taking stored vehicles from outside and putting them inside. We're not intensifying the use, therefore not intensifying the requirement for parking. But again, if necessary, we can have it when we repave it. We could look at restriping it. Hopefully we don't get fined if an adjuster comes and parks in that one space. But the reality is it's really not a handicap building.
Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you. So I have a procedural question, Kim. This particular use, it looks like it's automotive service, right?
Yep.
Probably falls under 4B3. And that BP1, it's a special permit?
You're not approving the use. The use is there already.
Yeah, it was
You're
my
approving
property.
a storage building. Because my question to them when they came in was, are you doing work inside this new building?
I think if we were intensifying the use,
They're not intensifying, they're
But I think that-
taking what's there and
But
putting it
they're-
inside a building.
They're adding a new building, right?
But they're.
Where the services will be performed
No.
No,
Just
inside.
storage.
no.
Is that just storage?
just storage. The existing building is going to be used just as it is today. All we're doing is putting up a new building, and what you see stored outside is going inside. There's no operations happening in this new building at all.
So no operation happening, no mechanics going to work on that, you just park and
You can
get out of the building?
I have the owner here with me, and he can confirm,
And I would.
Because I want to make sure that that happens, because once it's constructed
and I do too.
and does not follow, I want to be on record that they cannot be used, otherwise you
Otherwise,
are
there's
not
intensification,
complying
right.
with the regulations
Right.
as of today. So,
That has to be on the plan.
yes.
That needs to be on the plan,
Okay,
Right.
that building itself.
okay,
And on the plans, it says proposed use of the building is storage.
okay. So
So-
pure storage. And sidewalks, that's a problem for me. And I
Okay.
always hear sidewalks to nowhere, but
I-
town is spending a lot of money on sidewalks,
Sure.
and that's taxpayers' money.
I
And in the
understand,
future-
believe me, I understand.
Yep.
You know, I'm all for sidewalks.
Yep.
I've told my story before, what happened in my family when we didn't have
Yep.
sidewalks. And, you know,
And
I'm all
that's
for
okay,
it,
yep, that's,
but let me preface that by saying, I'm also in favor where sidewalks make sense.
okay. So that's the commission's decision, so that's, you have said what you have to do, you have to say, but, so I'm big on sidewalks. The handicap, and I think probably you should put handicap, because you never know if the adjuster is a handicapped person who comes there, you know, you never know. I mean, it has to comply by regulations.
Sure.
Providing
It's
the
simple, it's
handicap.
just simple restriping for pavement, we were gonna change it, pavement anyways.
So I think I don't have other questions, but sidewalk is big, and I want to make sure the use, it's just storage. So, any other questions? Yes.
And so that, for the handicap parking space, the access into the building, there's no step up, right? So
No,
it's
it's
easy
flush.
to get into, it's
It's a flush
functional?
entrance,
And
correct.
can accommodate ADA?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, any other questions? Having none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve site plan application LMP Realty LLC proposing a storage building for the property at 17 Laurel Road with the condition that the building will only be used as a storage facility and that the building will eliminate all outside storage.
I'll second that.
I would like to add in the condition to put sidewalks.
So that would have to be a friendly amendment, would
Yeah.
have to be made to the motion.
Friendly amendment, yep. Everyone did.
Is there a second to the friendly amendment? I just want to announce, excuse me, Jim, that the hearing for the gas station has been continued to March 19th. Okay, there's been no discussion on that item this evening. Well, they didn't have to send out one, after the first hearing, that's the first announcement, and the only announcement. And then, once I got the letter, I posted it online on the packet website, so. Okay,
Sorry about that.
So-
So,
okay,
all right,
so.
so can I have a second?
Yeah, there was a friendly amendment made that there be sidewalks. And we need, if there's a second for discussion purposes.
Second, for discussion purposes.
Well, no, the maker has to accept it
And
and
then,
Oh,
the seconder has to accept it.
So what do we do
who,
if I don't accept
the
it?
motion was
then-
made by Victor,
Yeah,
and did
I
somebody second?
seconded it.
And Alan seconded, okay.
So if I don't agree to that, to the sidewalk amendment, what do we do?
Then it doesn't fly.
Okay, so then it's just over. Yeah, okay.
We can talk about it in discussion,
Okay, we can discuss it.
so.
The reason I'm not going to agree to that amendment is this is basically an industrial area. If you look at a map and drive down the street, there isn't a single sidewalk anywhere in the area. So it's not a place that anybody's going to be walking down Laurel Road to go out for a stroll. So I see no point in putting that imposition on one person without everyone else on the street having it imposed. That's my reason for not approving the amendment.
all right.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't take it personally. I think it's, I'm looking after for the residents where, or even, you know, people working in nearby areas and have an opportunity. And my biggest concern is that if we don't have a sidewalk, we will never have. So that argument will be there forever. Because, and I think that's where it the problem, and we had discussed this before about sidewalks, like, a lot more people are walking these days. And we have seen, and, so that's why.
To your point, this just comes back to that we need to have the tool in our, this just comes back to, we need the tool in our toolbox to ask an applicant that if the sidewalk is not applicable in this area because of exactly what Commissioner Morris said, that they should have to contribute to a fund to where it would be more applicable. Your concern is that the town pays for sidewalks and everything else, and we keep on going back to this ordinance that we need for this commission to have the tools in the toolbox to ask an applicant to contribute to a sidewalk fund, so that when we come up to these instances, there's not the proverbial guilt trip of sidewalks on both sides of the table here, when we all know it may not work in the area, but we know that they should be doing it, everyone in the town should be doing it, and there's a better place to do it in parts of the town where there's gaps in sidewalks and we could use this money. So I hear you, I'm for sidewalks. In this instance, I'm not, because exactly what Commissioner Moher said, but I stand by that this commission needs the tool of having the sidewalk ordinance and have that fund to have applicants contribute to it for linear feet that we're missing out on in this town. This town is just missing out on money when it comes to this, and for sidewalks, geared towards sidewalks, only to sidewalks, and I'm belaboring the point, but I think you understand that sidewalks are important.
And we have been discussing this issue for the last 5 years.
Exactly. And I think
Told them
that
have.
we have to keep on going back to the point that we need that ordinance, we need the power to
So,
ask
so
an
this
applicant
is-
to do this.
this is for staff. What has to be done? I mean, I want to get it done like
We have
yesterday,
like
because
at least between 50 and 20 ordinances
Yep.
that we want to
Yeah,
modify.
Let's settle this and then
Yeah,
discuss
I-
that as
I
a
wanted
side.
I wanted to go on the record, that that's the reason why I'm.
Right, we don't have the ordinance, so we can't even
But we have
discuss
to
it. It makes
understand
no
the passion
sense. Yeah.
behind what this commission wants is sidewalks, so,
Right. I mean, I love sidewalks too.
yeah.
I get upset when I don't
Move
have
to
a
vote if there's no other comments.
All right, so let's vote.
We're going to eliminate the friendly amendment.
Well, it hasn't
No,
been-
it
there's
wasn't
no-
passed.
yes, there
It
wasn't
wasn't
passed.
passed, yeah. All right, so all in favor of the motion?
And this is,
So the
before we go through it, the condition was building will be only used as storage, and that it will eliminate all outside storage.
Correct.
But do we go by notes to say that we need restriping of handicap, or does that have to be a condition?
I would put that in there.
Okay, so someone needs to make that the condition.
Can we just, I have a question on the storage before. Are we talking long-term storage? Because I know that, cars get hit in the middle of the night, guy shows up there with a tow truck, drops the truck off in the front. It could be 24 hours before he gets to the building. So are we gonna say, like, long-term storage outside?
So what,
Yeah.
No? Okay, I just assumed because, all right, so then,
all right, so no temp,
yeah, I was just saying, this actually was the benefit, you guys.
So no storage, just
so no
That's fine.
temporary, no permanent storage
Authorized
either.
No outdoor
No,
storage.
yeah.
Pretty much covered it.
All right,
So if staff seems to think that we need to make sure that it's a condition to have
I would
handicap
put that
striping,
in there.
can we get that as a friendly
Okay, I'll make
amendment?
that as a friendly amendment to stripe one of the parking spaces as handicapped, if that wording is
I accept that amendment.
okay. Now we vote.
all in favor of motion and amendment? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item B is postpone. Item C. That's Kim, right?
Conservation and
That's all we
development.
got. That's all we got. There are several documents in your packet this evening concerning statistics and other things concerning the plan of conservation development. We as town staff have met through a training process with the town manager concerning strategic planning and concerning the overarching goals for the town of Rocky Hill. And I really would like to kind of tie the powers that be themes in with this if we can, if the commission finds them acceptable. The themes, the core values being integrity, collaboration, innovation, respect, and accountability. We talk about sustainability, we talk about resiliency, we talk about the capital improvement program process, which should be including this commission, if we truly do it the correct way. And I think the town is morphing that way, but it's going to be a process to get there. But we would like to include that in our POCD. In looking at what we've done in the past years with Plan of Conservation Development, I've boiled things down to 3 different things: people, places, and programs. And I kind of like to think of what we have to do while it's statutory, the things we have to include in the document. We should be concentrating on those things: people, places, and programs. And place can be something to do with the town garage, it could be a school, it could be a sense of place, like we want to create a sense of place for Rocky Hill. Programs, whether they be something that we want the school system to be looking at, whether it be like an internship program, like trying to create a municipal internship program, that type of thing, affordable housing programs. So those are the types of things. Some of the priorities and issues. This is a document that our town manager has put together for our budget document. I know you have a lot of paper in your packet. I apologize. But they boil it down to 11 different categories. The themes that rise to the surface for people have been promote and incentivize volunteerism. The drainage analysis, we have a drainage study that was done.
Which document you referring?
Priorities and issues. This is
Okay, yep,
way
yep.
towards the back, because
Yep.
the majority of the documentation in the packet is for the public hearing
Yep.
that you need to bring at next meeting. So drainage analysis, we're hoping to get funding through our capital improvements project for a townwide drainage study. One of the big thrusts for the Economic Development Commission is creating an arts and culture movement. And if you look at the town's diverse population, I think maybe that's something that we could work on and include in our POCD as well. Under economic development, the Human Services Department is resurrecting the theater. We had a theater in the past, and they're resurrecting that. So we're kind of heading that way now. We have some public spaces that were approved through different projects, whether it be the Kelson Row project and Tudosano Park down the Foundry, the aggregates built. And there were plans in the past to connect the Solistine Highway to the campus area. I'd like to see that continue in our plan and hopefully have more arts and cultural events. We talked about mixed use along the Solistine Highway. We have the town center district where we have mixed use development. It would be nice if we could continue that north to interchange 24. We already have some of that going on with the mixed use project behind Wendy's that was approved. The commission approved that. And it's my understanding that that project has actually been sold to different individuals, and we should be possibly getting an amendment in for that soon. We have in your packet here, through Sustainable CT, we had workshop back in the summer of last year for community resiliency. The primary themes in that were hazard mitigation, flooding, that we can, I mean, if you want to go through some of this stuff, we can. But we want to take a look at those results and include those results and the document itself as a chapter in our POCD, with the intent of actually putting together a community resiliency plan, probably through our Sustainable CT group. We have another advisory board, Sustainable RH, that is working with someone from our engineering department. Also, priorities, we have the Complete Streets policy. It would be nice to do a Complete Streets plan to further that along. I've talked to lieutenants in the police department. We have access to the Yukon crash data, so we can figure out where the problem locations are. Then I want to talk to them again more anecdotally as far as where they foresee problems. I know that from EMS and fire perspective, we certainly have some ideas of where some of the problem locations are. So we want to talk about that.
Does
And-
CROG have that aspect, like, figured out for the towns? Have they done any studies?
Yeah, well, they're working on that now.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we met with them, Steve Sopelak and I met with them today, with the town manager and the finance director on what they're concentrating on right now. They're concentrating on a community housing strategy, more at a regional level, so we'll be part of that as well. We're talking about flooding issues, and there's FEMA funding for that under the hazard mitigation plan. They want a copy of our resiliency results as far as what we got from that workshop meeting, so I'll be sending that over tomorrow. A big thing with CROG, obviously, is regionalization, and there are some positions, town positions that they're actually looking at as far as possible regionalizing, like animal control. Is that something that can be done on a regional level? Sharing of equipment, sharing of services. They do provide grant writing assistance. Once again, arts and culture, that was a big thing with them. Bike ped studies, they're working on that. Quick build, complete streets projects. They have maps that we can go on and say, okay, what do they think a problem is, or what do we think a problem is, and we can point out to them, you know, we maybe need stop signs here and do a temporary stop sign as a quick stopgap measure to see, you know, is this going to help? So that's something that we as the town should be doing, and that should be in our POCD as well. Brownfields, the Solacene Highway Study. Years ago, we did a Solacene Highway Study with Fuss and O'Neill, and it was with Weathersfield and Rocky Hill, and that's where the streetscape came about. We want to continue the streetscape northward, and there's a study going on now with Weathersfield and Rocky Hill from Parsonage Street north, because the streetscape basically ends at Parsonage Street. So we want to continue that on. We want to create more walkability, and then do mixed use on Solacene Highway. What else? We talked about the community farm and farmland preservation. This is what we did today. And access management was big. We talked about that as well, trying to control access and cutting down on curb cuts. So that's what we'd like to include in the document also. If something is acceptable or not acceptable, please let me know as I speak.
I have two of the priorities and issue sheets, so I wasn't sure which one was updated. Because the one, I'm looking at priorities and issues, number 4, where it says 3 bargaining units, and then on this priority and issue sheet, it says number 4, it says 1 bargaining unit.
Okay, this was a budget. This was the one that is,
I got these two.
okay, that one, this one is a budgeting. This is from the budget.
Okay, so don't look at that one.
Oh, you can look at both.
Oh.
We don't deal with bargaining units.
Oh, I just didn't know that, one says 3, one says 1. I don't know what that means.
Goals.
Yeah, but I think that's,
Goals.
That's more of a,
so I think what's
Budgeting.
happening is, these are priorities and issues for
Priorities,
town.
right.
for the
Now,
town.
from
and we're
P&Z
trying- Yeah, but we're trying to say, well, maybe there's some overlap
Right.
here.
Okay, okay.
That's,
Yep,
Synergies.
so we're going to
Yes.
pick, we're going to
We
pick that apply.
I mean, I would give you
That's
some
the
feedback
word.
on number 2.
Please do.
The health and safety piece. I
Please
would like
do.
to know if we are going to look at a CERT team. That's the Community Emergency Response Team, volunteer teams. We had talked, I think there was discussion many, many years ago, but I think that should be on the horizon, because that's a very important piece, and there's funding available only if you have a team in place.
I mean, I think it's overall POC planning for safety and all that comes. in.
yeah, that's all,
Part of-
that's all
that's
part of it.
Part of-
POCD.
Yes.
It may not come here, but,
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, implement or
Part of the
study,
pick.
yeah.
yep.
Could be part of the pick in the future.
That's great, that's great.
Ms. Ritchie, question for you. Procedurally, the assembly of this, at one time, we talked about using a similar system, how we did down at the farm, where we had some UConn students or collegiate students as part of their capstones or whatever. Is that still, can that still happen, or does CROG have a database, or someone have a database to basically say, yeah, these guys need a capstone project, this would be a great capstone project for whatever major it is at these universities type thing? And maybe they can help us assemble or put it together. I don't know if there's a resource out there that we can use similar to how we did with the.
With the community farm?
With the farm, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they helped us with the,
There may be, I don't know if we have time for that.
yeah, oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
if we
this
have time
is,
for
this
that.
is on a tight rope right now, schedule.
My thing was just assembling it all, because it sounds like either we're doing it or staff's doing it or both.
No, I mean, I think, I don't know
I
how
think
much
I think what
assembly would be.
Victor
Trying to look for a
driving-
resource, that's all.
Yeah, he's driving at what the procedure going forward is. I mean, we're not going to sit here and write the plan of conservation and development.
I'm just shouting out, I'm literally shouting out ideas as I go through
Right.
some of the statistics that we're getting to.
What's going to happen
If
is
something-
we are,
If
they were-
something is egregious to somebody, it's
then
out.
say now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's out.
No, I don't see anything.
I mean, I've taken this document and I've essentially wrote the Kim version of this.
Yep.
But it's not supposed to be the Kim version of
Yep.
this. So that's why I'm not even getting to this yet. I'm
Yep.
just getting to the other documents.
But I
right
think
now.
going back to,
Yeah, my point is that there are other commissions and boards that should be involved with this, not just.
That's what
doing.
Kim, that's
9
where
people
Kim's
here.
going next.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go there and then we'll talk.
Well,
Well, she's looking for feedback from
no,
us.
again, I
As
think,
far as what you said,
all right. I think this is the process, it has started, we don't have a luxury of a year to finish this project. It's coming up, June 2025?
yeah,
June 2025.
yeah,
So,
this is a
this is
real,
a fast-track project. What we have discussed is we
And the powers
probably
that
be
be know
meeting
that,
every
yeah.
2 weeks if we have to, because we don't have a consultant. We don't have a luxury of the consultant. So it is going to be a combined effort, staff is, and that's what Kim has started doing it. She's giving us all this information. Now it's our job to go through, make sure, what applies, what doesn't apply, what is good idea, not, and then,
yeah, there was a brief discussion, I believe, at the last meeting of having a subcommittee formed between the open space people, the planning and zoning, and maybe maybe even the Board of Education and Town Council, and just have a representative from each board and commission to present the ideas that they're responsible for. I mean, there are things that we're not responsible for that are in the plan of conservation and development. And now here we are sitting here, I know this is a preliminary discussion, but we're here sitting, discussing things that we have no idea what the input would be from the people that really know the issue and the topic to be discussed.
So what happened is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, I think the discussion about subcommittee was just from this group. Rather than, so that
Right.
because as I said, probably we'll have to start meeting every 2 weeks so that we can get this thing going.
True, but
And for that, we were looking for commitment from everybody so that, otherwise if you have 3 people or 4 people, it would be on them to attend those meetings, otherwise we won't have anything done.
yeah.
So-
But what I'm saying is, we can go on our merry way from now until June and think we have everything knocked down, but we should have a group that has a representative from everybody that has a stake in this thing, not just the
Technically the
planning.
pick. It's technically the pick.
That would,
But
yeah, I mean,
That's-
this should
I
be
think it's actually
assembled
better
by,
if one goes to a meeting of an entire body, an entire board, and say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. What is your feedback? Because you as a representative of, say, the Open Space and Conservation Commission may have an idea of what the commission wants, but other people on the commission may want something else. And when they discuss it, collectively, they come up with something totally different.
Is there any way that we can ask you and/or staff to basically put it on everybody's agenda?
That's what
That's
my
what will
plan
happen,
is.
yeah.
And-
Just-
and-
That's on their next agenda, and tell them to start, to Alan's point, start lighting them up. And to give them a deadline, and that's it. Speak now or
I think
wait another 10 years.
once we have,
Well, no, you can amend this at any time.
I
Yeah.
get it, I'm just,
No,
you
we-
know what I'm saying?
once we have
They'll have to come
something,
to PIC meetings.
probably we should, as a rep, go to council, go to wetlands, go to here, whatever, and
Correct.
give the presentation and say, this is what it is, this is where we are moving. And,
True, yeah. I'm just
Identify-
saying that we're all going off in our merry way without consulting with anybody else. And we're gonna wind up with 3, 4, or 5 different plans of conservation and development in June. And nobody knows what anybody else is doing unless they attend the meetings and sit out
No,
there.
they will, I think what's going to happen is, we are going to follow the format we had followed when we are consultant. Like, when drafts are prepared,
Yeah.
they will be getting into their packages for discussion. Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to be that
Everyone
we are
gets-
just
yeah.
putting together.
What's our next step, Kim?
That's what I'm
What's our
driving
next
at.
step?
Give you
Well,
feedback.
we have this information here that hopefully we can go over some of it, so you can at least see what some of the trends are, or what have you. So, at least what I found, and talk about it. We need to see if you people are on board with this, because if you're not on board with this, it's not gonna be included.
I think what we should do is review it and send our comments. Send our comments, and then, what we should do is maybe set up the meetings just to discuss this. And not P and Z related, just.
That's fine.
POCD, so we can focus on. So everybody will have opportunity to review, we come to the next meeting and discuss. And then,
There also is there an opportunity to see other towns that have completed recently? So we could see how they're doing theirs and they're laying theirs out, or do we want to just be rogue? I mean,
You can do that also.
I mean, can you just like give us the towns and we can go look at them, or I couldn't tell you who just passed their POCD.
You can type it in
That should be
Google.
on the
Yeah.
OPM website where.
Yeah.
Would you like us to give you research on some of this stuff? Like, would that help you to give you
And-
other
and
towns'
take-
plans? For example, I talked about the CERT teams. Would that be helpful for me to
That
give
would
you
be helpful.
information on that?
It would be helpful. I know that
What works,
I
what
know that
doesn't.
a former emergency management director here was looking at doing that.
Yeah, there's
So,
there's
yeah.
funds available,
Yeah.
but it's not.
So that would be,
Yeah, so something like
Yeah.
that, also on these documents.
yeah. Definitely. I mean, we have our affordable housing plan, we want to include that as a chapter. And even now, if you look at that particular plan, there's some things that are already underway with that. Some things have already been done with that, but we're not going to update this plan until it's time to do that. But we've made, we've made some efforts there.
And we have adopted this, so it's.
Yeah,
it's-
that's going to be that's
so
going to
it's
be,
part of, so let's just make it,
that's a chapter.
Yep.
The community
That's kinda like what
resiliency
I'm
summary of
suggesting, is-
findings will be a chapter. We have our hazard mitigation plan, which is in here, that's done by CROG. And we, as staff, sat down with CROG to do that. That will be a chapter. So, at the beginning of these, we have some statistics put on by Advanced CT. We have Rocky Hill 2021 equity, some statistics, some interesting things. We also have, in our bond rating presentations, we all as staff helped put together some of the historical information for the town when they had to do their bond rating presentation for issuing the bonds. And a lot of that information, we're going to just take and use that in our document as well. I mean, the history, if you look at our current POCD, there's a little history of the town of Rocky Hill, and this has a little bit more detail on that, too, so.
All right,
Do
so,
you have an editable document that we could electronically start playing with? Like, I know this is a PDF, but do you have an editable one that we could?
I believe we do. I don't have access. I mean, our clerical person who has been out, she has Adobe, which we could get to you. I don't have Adobe on my computer.
I mean, this,
We're not allowed to put things on our computer.
That's okay.
Allowed to what?
Allowed to put things on their computer. Strict IT policy.
What?
IT policy in the POCD.
I think the editable would be if she puts like shared Word document.
You have to be able to,
Your-
say, oh, Dimple says,
Can you send
Victor
it to me in a
says.
PDF and I'll rip it for
says-
everybody and make it a shareable document? That's fine. I'm a good ripper.
Is your name Jack?
No.
All right, so I think as next steps, we will look at these documents, right?
All this
Review it.
stuff that we got, yeah.
See,
Did you want a meeting next week,
yeah, we can.
on Wednesday?
Wednesday. We'll have to start. If we don't start,
Well,
then
that's
it's not
why I'm
going to
saying,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah, so. Yep. Yeah, we should meet.
Is
We
that
need
our,
to-
is
we
that
need-
our assigned date?
That's your
before
special
Sunday?
meeting day, so, and we always have it there, so.
That's fair.
And I suggest that we actually have an outline of the process on how to put this thing together, not just, which is what I've been getting at, in a sense,
Yeah, we
since I
can,
started talking, between,
Yeah.
the
Well,
process
I
between
think-
how we coordinate
I
everybody.
think, Alan, once we have a document that we all can look at, like physically, and then Kim starts adding like, okay, this is the chapter, this is this, and then we start seeing this thing grow.
Yeah.
And we could talk about a document dynamically building rather than just having pieces of paper in front of us.
What I'm talking about, a process among everybody
Yeah,
in
well, then they can be shared
town
to other
government.
commissions.
Yeah.
Hey, Commissioner X, Commission X.
Right.
We're doing this, here's a shareable document, please look at it, read-only rights or whatever it is.
us what you
yeah.
want.
Yeah.
so Kim, I think what we can do is put together like the process document where we are going to say every Wednesday or whatever we decide we're going to meet. We are going to discuss, all the things, we're going to share with people. We're going to, draft documents and attend meetings or whatever, the whole process, so, and with the timeline, because we start from like June 2025 and
Back time.
back.
Actually, I think I had given that to you folks in the past. I don't have that with
Okay.
me. As far as, okay, we have to set a hearing on this date.
You did.
A legal
Right.
notice has to go out on this
Right.
date, and, yeah. So, yeah. So we can do that,
It is statutory by a certain date?
yes. Yep. And I've already discussed it with Stephen Sopelak, head of community development. I've already discussed it with Ray Carbentino, town manager, as far as we need to get something in for meeting the statutory deadline. And then thereafter, maybe even if we hit it quarterly, have meetings about just this.
I mean, one thing can be like, when we are discussing this at the POCD, special POCD meeting, we can have other staff come as well
Correct.
and have like interactive,
Yep.
right? I mean, then,
Yeah, and
then.
they should
Yeah.
they should be aware of that they should be working on something too that can be
Right.
submitted, not
Then they
just
can submit and all that. So
have
it's
them
a-
show up and,
Yep.
this is what we're doing. Oh, gee, I had no idea. You know what I mean?
Well, like I've talked to, like the facilities director, I've spoke to him and I said, I know years ago there was a facilities plan. I guess that's being worked on now, but it's been outdated because now there's new facilities in town. We have Mosier School. I haven't talked to the Board of Ed. I have talked to one individual at the Board of Ed about getting a community internship program going with the municipal government and the Board of Ed, and having kids at the high school, they have to do community service. Why not come here and learn what the town does? And maybe, I mean, that's our future, that's where the future is. So why not have them, see if they'll be interested in doing some of the things? Maybe they'd be serving on P and Z someday. But what about the Board of Ed? Get them involved too.
All right. Any other comments? Looks like everybody's ready for Wednesday. So if you can, so it's going to be a publicized meeting, right? So,
Yeah,
okay.
it's gonna have to be.
All right.
Did you want to go over any of this or no?
We should read it first.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, let's
We
read
look
it.
at it first.
We can read it, right, and then
Mm-hmm.
next Wednesday,
Can you go over
Prepared.
what was,
I mean, I just want to point out, I mean, some of these things are really obvious, but I mean, we're an aging town. We're a diverse town, a well-educated town. Our school system, the population of the school system actually has been going down, and that was presented at the Board of Ed budget last year. So we kind of have a bubble in that 20 to 60-year-old range. That bubble is getting older, so we are an aging community, and the goal is obviously to age in place. That's always been a big thing. We also, it's interesting, we have,
so with that study, do we have that study where they talk about population declining, or like student population and all that?
that's from the budget presentation
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
So, I mean, that is out there, so we can certainly get that for you. Interesting statistic about no access to vehicles, 8 to 9%, that's closer to 10% now. So, and working from home, I mean, society has changed because of COVID. There's a lot of still working from home. And a lot of our office space now is vacant. We have vacant office space. We have a lot of requests to convert office space to residential units. And a lot of our office space is going to rentable suites. So people, in other businesses can rent a suite for a meeting. So that has changed as well. homeownership opportunities. There was something in the Rocky Hill Equities talking about single-family homes and talking about younger adults are less likely than older adults to be homeowners. And do we want to attract more young professionals here? Do they want a home? People are delaying having children. So all this stuff comes into play when we talk about plans of conservation and development. So we have to be kind of thinking that way. So many things written down here. We have a higher income than most people in the state, so that's difficult for our community with respect to grants. When we talk about affordable housing, developers are great for offering up the 80% median income, but we need to provide housing opportunities for all, and that means at the 60% income, and that means at the 40% income. And we're not seeing that.
And I think that's something we should talk about and require more, like, 20% affordable and, 40% EMI, 60% EMI, like that.
And that should be in our regulations.
That should be part of regulation, so that, this government is asking us create, but then they can't say why you are so restrictive. Well, because we want to create. They can't, So I think we should do that.
Yeah, so that's, there's some statistics on poverty level also as well.
Kim, as part of this, is there any chance that someone has like a working sidewalk plan for the town, a working, when we talk about the complete streets, is there a working sidewalk plan for the town? Is there, if there are all the town properties, so we can make that part of it? And if there's a plan for town properties, like, for example, Elmridge Park, there's a lot more to Elmridge Park on the West Street side than people know about. Is there a plan in the future to develop that? We have the Straska Farm, Straska Farm now, I'm not sure it changed its name, but.
We have a map that shows all open space and I
Yeah.
believe farmland with development rights that we have purchased.
I'd like
have-
something like that as part of this, update all that stuff.
Yes, we have that.
Because then we can talk with some education, like, hey, maybe the plan is to expand Elmridge Park or Maxwell Park, or whatever it is. Or
Yeah,
create
we have
another
that.
park or something, walking trails, all that other stuff. So,
We do have that plan.
All right.
We do have that plan. And
I
there,
figured you had all that stuff, but.
we have that, and then we also have the plan for sidewalks for this year as well. So,
And then we can identify, like we've always been trying to do, where it should go in the next X amount of years, where the sidewalks should go and what our goals are, overall goals. And we talked ad nauseum about that in all of our PIC meetings. I think we should actually include it in some of our documents.
So I think, talking about nauseam, it's, I think our first order of business is to create that account. I mean,
Don't we have one?
No,
no,
Account.
not for
Sidewalk?
sidewalk fund.
okay, that's,
That's, we have to create
Oh, I
that.
thought we did.
no,
I thought we did too.
yeah.
And I thought we just didn't know how much was in it.
We have 3 line items under a special revenue fund.
No, but that's
But it's
that's
not-
different. That's an account where it's a line item in
Yeah.
that account.
need-
What
we
we
need
are
the
saying
ordinance.
It's a
is,
We need the
separate-
ordinance.
we need
It's a
an
separate
ordinance to
fund.
collect
Yeah.
money.
It
We
needs
need
to
the
be a
ordinance to
separate fund.
collect.
And we have that for subdivisions. We have that for subdivisions. We're not seeing subdivisions come in.
Yeah.
We're seeing
to broaden that scope.
commercial,
We need to
we're
broaden
seeing
it.
commercial properties come in.
Yeah.
We require sidewalks, but if we're not getting the sidewalks, we should get the fee in lieu of.
Yes.
So what needs to be done? Do I have to talk to anybody and say, get that? I mean, that's a priority for us. It's like we're losing money.
Yeah, I'll talk to Steve.
Because, again, we are,
That should be
town
part of,
ends
that
up,
that should be part of our sidewalk plan.
yeah.
That should be part of our plan. I mean, we've been asking for it for years, and even in the PIC meeting, so
Yep.
I agree with you that
I
it
mean,
has to be a
it's-
priority for this commission.
We should just have that done in the next couple of months, you know, so.
Is there anything that we need to include, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but is there anything that we need to include to change our regulations? Like a list of things that we need to change in the POCD, in our regulations to be put into the POCD? Like, of things that need to happen,
Well, typically what happens is the POCD is changed,
and then we do our regulations.
and then you do the regulations. Now, I know under our affordable housing plan, they want to change and allow for affordable housing in all these different zones. Well, who knows, maybe some of the residential zones will change, and maybe we should just, we need to require affordable housing in subdivisions if and when we get subdivisions. So that will probably dictate what the regulations will be in the future, not necessarily what the affordable housing plan says, because it may be out of date already in that instance, so.
Okay.
Typically,
So next
typically
Wednesday.
the plan is changed
We have
first.
to do we have to vote, or we're doing it?
We're
We have to
doing-
vote for next Wednesday, or we're,
No, it's a
It could be
meeting.
a special meeting.
It's a special
Dimple
meeting.
could say there's a special meeting next week.
Are you saying that?
Yeah,
And I don't know if ZBA was bumped to, but I think we have this room, so. I tried to set it up so it's already,
yep.
is it a discussion here, or is it a discussion at the back table? Are we sitting
No, I
as
think we'll
commission members?
just do it here, right? So if we call people in,
Yeah,
like,
'cause it's a formal meeting.
you know, yeah, it's a
Okay.
formal
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Okay,
And I think.
what time would you like that meeting to start?
6:30. 6?
6:30?
Can we do 6?
Well, we can, but we gotta make sure all commissions can
Ron,
be
I
here.
think 6:30 is better for you, or?
It doesn't matter, it just depends what time I leave.
You have-
I mean, it's harder getting out of Waterbury.
So we'll keep 6:30.
6:30,
Let's
yeah,
keep
that's fine.
6:30 so
That's
it's
fine.
consistent, you know.
Okay.
Okay, so I will be calling you Dimple as far as the agenda.
Yep. Please review all this stuff, everybody, so we can, and bring if you have anything else, bring it. Something else? Okay. Next item is any other business, Prague Regional Planning Commission.
There hasn't been a meeting since December.
Should be on.
Ron,
It's on.
Next meeting is going to be, I think, the 6th of March, or first week and a half of March, whatever that.
Is it a Thursday? Or,
To be
March
honest with you,
6th, Thursday, 7 PM.
yeah, the 6th. Glad you have a calendar.
So, can you bring all these things up, and maybe if they have any documentation, anything that can help us,
Sure.
anything?
well,
You know.
we have the capital region plan right here.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that
right-
plan has already been approved
Yeah,
and
it's right here.
published.
And the Rocky Hill section, they concentrated on sustainability, resiliency, complete streets, Silestine, streetscape, connectivity to the river, affordable housing, bike ped issues, strategic planning, and capital improvements process.
Okay, so we
everything.
have covered
We've kind of,
quite,
yeah, we've kind of,
yep.
so.
Okay, so anyhow, the meeting will be March 6th.
Okay.
Oh, there's also going to be, people put their names in for officers, and there'll be an election of officers at that meeting, too.
All right, you can go for president.
Yeah.
Item 6B, zoning enforcement.
I don't even see a report, and I don't know why, so. I can't help you. I know we have a lot of lighting complaints.
Lighting?
I just got 2 more tonight, so I'll be going out after this meeting to look at lighting.
You
All
never-
right. Minor modifications.
We did have a Mylar signed, it was something that was approved a while ago, it's for a generator at 55 Capitol, so.
Affordable Housing Committee.
Affordable Housing Committee, we're working on an affordable housing forum, homeownership assistance forum on April 3rd. I've reached out to CHFA, and we did phone tag today on that, and some of their lenders. So we'd also talked to the Housing Authority to get them in. They have a grant that they have now, and they're analyzing their property for possible additional units. But the committee wanted them to come and speak about what their requirements are and how they work. And I think Human Services also, as far as rental assistance as well.
So add units on the top or expand?
I believe it's, well, it's being studied right now. They have
Oh,
a
okay.
grant to do that. And, because I talked to them about that also.
Because if they go second story, there'll be more units than.
That's
if
correct.
they expand. Okay. Legislation, there's a,
I think the session starts,
Yes.
it started.
Yeah.
But it's already up and running.
so,
Yep.
got nothing.
Next item, communications. Anything?
You should be aware that there will be construction going on concerning
MDC?
pipelining on Celestine Highway and Town Line Road, so there may be lane closures overnight. You should be aware of that. There's a training session coming up for land use commissioners, March 22nd. This is the all-day, it's a webinar, 9 to 4:30. And you also have access to the Yukon Clear site as far as training goes as well.
I never got any certification for the last one. The one that we had desegregation, whatever, we never got anything.
Yeah, me either.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what,
I was on it for 5 hours.
yeah, I was there, sitting there watching.
5 hours? I thought it
5
was
hours.
6.
I think I got something.
That 5-hour energy drink, so I know.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, yeah, I mean, they said, oh, you'll get it and stuff. and
Didn't get it.
So,
I have a file of people's certificates if you get them, so.
so is anybody coming and checking on the requirement, the statutory requirement?
Knock on wood.
Not as of yet.
I was looking
Not as
into
of
that.
yet, but we have had correspondence, so.
Yep.
There has been correspondence.
Eversource is trimming trees.
That's correct.
When do they start?
When do they start?
Like, are they starting soon?
We finished with the training,
I assume so.
Okay.
I assume so. We got this,
training.
this map to,
I
I
saw
was
the
just gonna
map.
bring something
to
up.
show
when you
us
talk
where
about
they're gonna be
training, and
trimming, so. Because we're gonna get complaints.
Always.
Yeah.
We're gonna get complaints. You guys will get complaints. They know you're on the commission in town, they're
All their
gonna,
primaries.
Yep.
Their
Yeah.
primaries in town.
yeah, but they're gonna, so.
On the training issue.
Yep.
I did some looking into it, and my understanding is that if we satisfied our
Yeah.
requirement for last year, it actually covers the entire term, which is.
It goes
last-
with your term.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not, so I think everybody has their,
Done, yeah.
No, I don't think everybody does
oh,
on this
Always
commission.
one.
I don't know that everybody does.
Always one.
well,
Way to go, Alan.
Oh,
No,
okay, who didn't? I mean, I've got an extra hour and a
he
half.
did the first one 5 hours, like,
Was that
you know.
Yeah, I
Trying to
was,
sell it?
I was done by May. Anyhow, that comes up periodically, and, you know,
Yep.
if you meet the one-year requirement, it actually, it should be written more clearly. It actually is for the term, not for the year. It was originally presented to us as each year you needed, what was it?
well,
5
keep in
hours?
mind, the first time it was in effect,
Yeah,
you needed that by the end of 2024.
right, but we're in the same term.
Yeah, it's
So,
confusing.
so if you do it by the end of 2024, then you're good for this year, is what I'm saying.
some, yeah, there's two different commissions that do this, zoning board of appeals also, and there is legislation being proposed that wetlands has to do it as well.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing,
No, it's not,
and it's not a burden either.
no, so.
All right, approve bills, no bills, right?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
I had a question.